begin the Courthouse Square tour, proceed to the corner of Main Street and Central Avenue. You'll be directly across the street from the old Moultrie Banking Company building. Directly in front of you is a marble memorial to the 178 men from Colquitt County who died in World War I and II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. Atop the monument is a flame that has burned continuously since the memorial was dedicated on July 4, 1976, to mark our nation's bicentennial. Next, proceed up the sidewalk along Main Street to the nearby area where 3 historical markers and plaques are located. Here you see a state historical marker erected in 1954 that tells about the founding of Colquitt County. Created from Thomas and Lowndes County in 1856, Colquitt was Georgia's 115th county. At the time of its creation, it was the least populated county in the state, with just over 1,000 residents. Colquitt County is probably the only county in the United States to once have had a tall totem pole on its courthouse grounds. Here you see a small plaque that tells the story of the totem pole that once stood nearby. Erected in 1963 to celebrate the county's agricultural diversity, the 32-foot-tall totem pole featured carvings of a variety of crops and farm animals. The wooden shaft later suffered from rot and was removed in the early 1980s. Its present-day location is a mystery, but the metal plaque remains in tribute to the importance of agriculture in Colquitt County. The third plaque indicates that the giant magnolia tree behind the marker was planted by Mrs. George Tucker around 1845. Actually, this plaque is in error. It is true that Mrs. Tucker planted a magnolia tree around 1845, but it was not this one. In 1845, there was no courthouse here, as Colquitt County had not yet been created. In fact, this area consisted of forest. 4 miles northwest of this site, George Tucker built a house on land lot 196. Tucker later sold the house and it became known as the Mims House. At the time Colquitt County was created in 1856, there were no towns in the county, so the Mims House was used as a temporary courthouse until 1859. And this is where Mrs. Tucker planted her magnolia tree. In a photo of the Moultrie Courthouse Square taken around 1912, you can see a very small tree near the location of the present magnolia. Most likely, this magnolia was planted around 1910. Still, it is believed to be Moultrie's oldest and largest magnolia tree. Next, proceed along the Main Street sidewalk to the monument located on the southwest corner of the Courthouse Square. Before you stands a 30-foot-tall monument to the men from Colquitt County who served in the Confederate cause during the Civil War. At the top is a near life-size Confederate soldier. On opposite sides of the base are engraved blocks with the names of Colquitt County soldiers who lost their life during the war. Erected in 1909 by the Moultrie United Daughters of the Confederacy, the marble statue is the tallest Confederate monument in southwest Georgia and one of the tallest in the state. Now retrace your steps along Main Street to the sidewalk leading to the entrance of the courthouse. Before examining the architectural features of the courthouse, you might be interested in learning how Colquitt County's courthouse came to be located in Moultrie. When Colquitt County was created in 1856, Moultrie did not exist. In fact, there were no towns or villages in the new county. Near where you are standing was a small post office named Ocklackney. In 1857, the name of the post office was changed to Moultrie in honor of Revolutionary War hero William Moultrie of South Carolina. For the first 2 years of the county's existence, the Mims House northwest of Moultrie served as the temporary county courthouse. In 1859, the county's inferior court decided to make Moultrie the county seat and ordered the clearing of land that would become the courthouse square. Trees and bushes were cut down and burned, and in the middle of the square was built a one-story log building. For 22 years, this log building served as Colquitt County Courthouse, but unfortunately, it burned down in 1881. All county records, including land deeds and plats, were lost in the fire, resulting in decades of litigation over land ownership. After the fire, county officials built another one-story wooden courthouse, but that proved inadequate, so in the late 1880s, they built a new two-story wooden courthouse. Until the early 1890s, Moultrie remained a sleepy little village with scarcely 300 residents. There was not a single brick building in downtown, nor were there any paved streets or sidewalks. And until 1910, cows were permitted to roam Moultrie's dirt streets. This forced the county to build a fence around the courthouse square to keep cows off the grounds. By 1890, things were changing. One thing Colquitt County had plenty of was pine forests that had never been cut. Timber and naval stores operations began moving in from the Carolinas. Some of those involved in logging, sawmills, turpentine, and rosin became very wealthy. In the little town of Moultrie, things began to change in 1893 when the first railroad arrived. During the 1890s, pine forests and the railroad brought new prosperity to Colquitt County, and the county's population almost tripled. Soon, county government had outgrown the wooden courthouse, so in 1900, county officials decided to build a new courthouse. Atlanta architect Andrew Bryan submitted the winning design for the new Colquitt County Courthouse. Bryan was a prolific designer and during his career was responsible for 7 other Georgia courthouses, as well as 12 courthouses in other states. Construction of the new courthouse began in 1901 and was completed the following year. On September 1, 1902, the new courthouse opened for business. Today, Colquitt County's courthouse is widely acknowledged as one of the most beautiful courthouses in the state. In several ways, it is unique among Georgia's 159 county courthouses. While the Main Street side is generally regarded as the front of the courthouse, there is no main entrance. Colquitt County's courthouse is one of the very few in the state to be square with 4 identical sides. No matter on which side of the courthouse you stand, the building looks the same. Built in neoclassical revival style, the courthouse brings to mind a Greek or Roman temple. There are 4 identical entrances, each protected by a portico supported by 4 columns. At the top of each column is an elaborate Greek Corinthian capital that portrays acanthus leaves arranged in 3 rows. Of all types of column styles, Corinthian capitals are the most beautiful and the most delicate. It is rare to find column capitals in such excellent condition as those of the century-old Colquitt County Courthouse. Rising above the center of the courthouse is an octagon tower. Large clocks are located in the sides facing north, south, east, and west. Atop the tower is a curved, dome-like covering consisting of 8 sides. Most courthouse and capitol domes are round with a convex or outward curve. Colquitt County's dome, however, is unique among Georgia's courthouses. It has 8 sides, each with a concave or inward curve at the base and a convex curve at the top. Atop the dome is a smaller cupola. Except for ladders and bracing, the interior of the clock tower is largely empty, and unlike the Georgia and U.S. capitals, there is no rotunda stretching from the center of the main floor up through the other floors to the dome. Despite its white appearance today, the Colquitt County Courthouse actually is constructed of tan-colored brick. Originally, the columns, porticos, and clock tower were white, and the dome apparently covered with copper, as early color photo postcards show it green. As originally constructed, the courthouse had 2 floors, each with 20-foot ceilings. During the Great Depression, the WPA proposed modernizing the courthouse and adding 4 more stories, with the top floor to serve as the jail. The WPA offered to pay 45% of the cost. However, Colquitt County was in debt and could not afford the offer. So, in 1940, the WPA funded a more modest courthouse restoration. Over the years, there were occasions when some of the courthouse bricks needed to be replaced. but the local company that had supplied the tan brick in 1901 had long been out of business. Unable to find a source of the same color as the original brick, county officials in 1952 decided to paint the entire courthouse white. In 1956, Colquitt County celebrated its centennial. To mark the occasion, county officials began a 2-year restoration of the courthouse. To accommodate the need for more space, the interior of the courthouse was gutted. By reducing the height of the ceilings from 20 feet to 12, it was possible to create 3 floors. The original windows were bricked up and smaller windows created for each floor. If you'll walk to the right around the exterior of the courthouse, you'll see several plaques near the southern entrance noting the completion of the building and its various restorations. Additionally, just around the southeastern corner, you'll find the courthouse cornerstone noting the building's completion in 1902. Opposite the steps leading to the southern entrance is a marble water fountain. In the middle is a 4-sided stone memorial erected in memory of Roswell G. Clark after his death in 1923. Clark served as clerk of Superior Court for 20 years before serving 2 years in the Georgia House of Representatives. Clark was known for his penmanship, especially his distinctive signature. In his memory, Clark's fancy signature was carved into the marble stone. As you enter the main floor of the courthouse, you'll see a central area with curved walls similar to a small rotunda. Here you'll find 4 exhibits on the history of Colquitt County, including one on the observance of the county's 150th anniversary in 2006. Also located inside the courthouse are the offices of the Clerk of Courts, Probate Court, State Court, Public Defender, and the Superior Court courtroom. Most other county offices are located in the courthouse annex across the street. In 1980, Colquitt County's courthouse was listed on the National Register of Historic Places. It was the first building in the county to be placed on the register. As you conclude your tour of the Courthouse Square, you are invited to return for a special treat during December of each year. Like many counties, a large Christmas tree is placed on the courthouse grounds. However, there is one thing that makes Moultrie unique from any other town in Georgia. For decades, there has been an annual tradition of stringing Christmas lights from the cupola of the courthouse to surrounding buildings. The result at night is a dazzling canopy of colored lights covering the entire courthouse square and adjacent streets. The colorful display makes a visit to Moultrie during the Christmas season a memorable way to celebrate the holiday.